Welcome, everyone. Ready to unpack The Confidence Code?
I am. It's a fascinating read.
Definitely. Katty and Claire Shipman, these journalists spent years, just observing confidence, especially with women.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so interesting. So many successful women, why is there still this, self-doubt?
Right.
And that's what we're going to, unpack. Can we choose to be more confident?
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to dive in with you. You always have such great insights on these topics.
Well, and this book's a goldmine for that. I mean, starting off, they showcase these incredible women like Susan B. Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
Fighting for suffrage, decades, and then you've got Malala Yousafzai.
Right, yeah.
Taking on the Taliban. I mean, the obstacles were immense, but their determination never wavered.
And they actually define that as, the true confidence.
Exactly.
It's not the absence of fear.
Just pushing through it.
But the ability to move forward in spite of it. Have you ever had to do that, push through something to achieve a goal?
Oh, countless times. That's, I think, a human experience. But the book also gets into that, like you said, the self-doubt.
Oh.
So many women face, there's this, story about this high-achieving investment banker gets this big promotion and insists she didn't deserve it.
Oh my gosh, I feel that. It's like we're almost programmed to downplay achievements.
And the crazy thing is, studies show that women consistently underestimate their abilities.
Right.
Compared to men with similar skills, and they're less likely to go for opportunities. It makes you wonder, have you ever felt like an imposter, even when you knew you were good?
All the time. All the time. It's unsettling how much society's expectations play into all of this.
Mm-hmm.
The book points out how men seem to naturally project this confidence, even when they're not more competent.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's fascinating. The authors tie it to social norms. Men are often rewarded for that self-promotion, for taking risks, whereas women, we often get penalized for the exact same thing.
That's so true. And then there's that whole stereotype threat thing. They talked about a study with Asian American women.
Oh, great.
Performed worse on math tests when reminded of their gender, but excelled when reminded of their ethnicity.
Our brains are subconsciously limiting us.
It's wild how much those stereotypes can impact us without even realizing it.
Powerful stuff. It really makes you think about, those unconscious biases we all carry.
And then they talked about the WNBA players.
Yes.
These incredible athletes who seem so confident on the court, but even they admit to struggling with self-doubt off the court.
It's like confidence isn't this fixed thing. It's fluid, shaped by what's going on around us and within us. The book dives into genetics too, genes linked to resilience, anxiety, even social connections.
It's almost like nature versus nurture.
Totally. But while genes lay the groundwork, the book stresses that our experiences and choices play a huge role in how those tendencies play out.
So we're not just puppets of our DNA.
No, we have agency. And the authors highlight neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. What's encouraging is we can actually reshape our brains to be more confident.
Really?
Through things like meditation and cognitive behavioral therapy.
Wow, I didn't know that. And then there's all those confidence cousins.
Confidence cousins, yes.
Self-esteem, optimism, self-compassion, self-efficacy. Are those just different words for the same thing?
They're related but distinct. The book emphasizes that true confidence is about action, believing you can accomplish something specific and going for it.
So it's not just feeling good, it's about actually doing.
Exactly. There's that doing component. That's key.
That leads to the idea of failing fast. They present that as a confidence-building strategy.
You're failing fast.
It seems counterintuitive. How can failure build confidence?
It's about seeing failure as a learning opportunity, not a personal defeat. When we learn from our mistakes, we become more resilient. The book offers practical tactics for directly confronting those thought patterns.
They suggest things like reframing negative thoughts, actually having a dialogue with our inner critic, even physically discarding those thoughts by writing them down and throwing them away.
And there's research to back this up. Psychologist Richard Petty did a study where people who physically discarded negative thoughts felt less bothered by them compared to those who kept those thoughts.
Sounds simple, but the goal is to interrupt those automatic thought patterns that sabotage our confidence. Instead of letting them fester, we actively choose to challenge and replace them with more empowering beliefs.
It's about consciously changing our internal dialogue. And the more we practice, the easier it becomes. The book also stresses moving beyond rumination and taking action. It's not enough to just think positive thoughts. We have to actually engage in things that challenge us.
Like the saying goes, action is the antidote to fear. The more we step outside our comfort zones, the more evidence we gather that we can handle challenges.
Right. And the book encourages embracing a fail-fast mentality, seeing setbacks as valuable lessons instead of personal failures.
That's easier said than done, especially for those of us prone to perfectionism. But the book argues that perfectionism can actually hold us back from being confident.
Exactly. When we set these impossibly high standards, we're bound to fall short. And that constant self-criticism erodes our confidence and prevents us from taking risks.
There's a powerful message here about accepting our imperfections and recognizing that it's about progress, not perfection.
And remember, progress doesn't have to be huge. Small, consistent steps, even if they seem insignificant, can have a huge cumulative effect on our confidence.
The book illustrates this with the story of Crystal Langhorne, the WNBA player who initially struggled with her shooting. But instead of giving up, she practiced relentlessly for hours every day during the off-season, completely overhauling her technique.
That commitment to pushing through discomfort paid off big time. She won the Most Improved Player award and has been an all-star ever since.
Her story shows that confidence isn't innate. It's a muscle we can develop through focused effort and repetition.
And what's fascinating is that skills we build in one area can often transfer to others. The confidence we gain from mastering a sport, for example, can translate into greater confidence in our work or relationships.
It's like our neural pathways become more adept at overcoming obstacles and achieving goals. The book also dives into the genetic factors that contribute to confidence.
The authors, Katty and Claire Shipman, even got genetic testing themselves to explore this further.
That personal touch adds a whole new layer to their research.
Yeah.
What did they find out about their own genetic predispositions?
Well, they both carry a variant of the COMT gene, sometimes called the warrior-worrier gene, which is linked to anxiety and overthinking. But they also both have a variant of the OXTR gene associated with higher levels of oxytocin.
Oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, linked to social bonding and empathy.
That's the one. This suggests that while they may be genetically predisposed to worry, they also have this incredible capacity for connection and positive social interaction. It's a fascinating example of how our genes present us with a mix of strengths and challenges.
The takeaway is that we're not just defined by our genetic makeup. We can consciously choose to cultivate the strengths that support our confidence and develop strategies for managing those tendencies that might hold us back.
Absolutely. The book empowers us to actively shape our own confidence code rather than passively accepting whatever genetic hand we've been dealt.
It highlights our agency, our ability to influence our own destinies, and that agency extends beyond ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? The book emphasizes the importance of passing it on, of nurturing confidence in others, especially young girls.
Right. And this is where those societal expectations we discussed earlier come back into play. We can choose to disrupt those limiting beliefs and create a more supportive environment where girls can thrive and develop their confidence.
So how do we do that?
The book offers practical advice for parents and educators. It stresses the importance of encouraging independence, resilience, and a willingness to embrace challenges head-on.
They also warn against excessive praise, focusing instead on acknowledging effort and progress.
It's about helping girls develop a sense of intrinsic motivation and self-belief, rather than becoming reliant on what others say.
The book also highlights the importance of exposing girls to a diverse range of role models, especially in fields traditionally dominated by men, like STEM fields.
When girls see women succeeding in those areas, it expands their horizons and their sense of what's possible for them.
There's this heartwarming story about Claire, one of the authors, taking her daughter to watch a WNBA practice. Her daughter was mesmerized by the player's skill and athleticism. Afterwards, she stood in front of a mirror, dribbling her basketball, imagining herself as a confident athlete.
That story perfectly captures the power of representation. When we see people who look like us achieving their goals, it sparks a belief within ourselves that we too can achieve great things.
The book makes a point that confidence isn't just about individual achievement, it's also about connection and community.
Right. The authors share an interesting story about Jim Stigler, a psychology professor who observed a striking difference between classrooms in Japan and the United States.
What was the difference?
In Japanese classrooms, when a student struggled with a problem, the teacher often invited that student to come to the front of the room and work through the problem publicly.
That seems counterintuitive. Wouldn't that be embarrassing for the student?
That was Stigler's initial thought, too. But he came to appreciate that this approach created a culture of learning and collaboration. Struggling was seen as an opportunity for growth, not a sign of weakness.
So it's about normalizing effort and reframing mistakes as valuable learning experiences.
Precisely. And that shift in perspective can have a huge impact on confidence. When we feel supported in our struggles, we're more likely to persevere and develop resilience.
That feeling of belonging can be incredibly empowering.
And it's something we can cultivate in our own communities, whether it's at work, within our families, or in our social circles.
We can create spaces where people feel safe taking risks, asking for help, and celebrating both successes and setbacks.
By fostering a culture of support and encouragement, we can collectively raise the confidence level for everyone.
What a powerful vision. It's not just about women supporting women. It's about everyone recognizing the inherent value of confidence and creating a world where everyone feels empowered to thrive.
Absolutely. The confidence code is ultimately a human code. It's about unlocking our collective potential by embracing our strengths, learning from our setbacks, and supporting each other along the way.
This has been such an enlightening exploration of the confidence code. It's clear that confidence isn't a static attribute. It's a dynamic and ongoing process we can actively shape through our choices and actions.
And the journey towards greater confidence is definitely worth the effort. As we cultivate our own confidence, we not only empower ourselves, but also inspire and uplift those around us.
Wow, so many great insights. It's like a toolbox for confidence. But it can still feel overwhelming, like where do we actually start putting this all into practice?
Well, self-awareness is key. Really tune in to that inner voice. Notice those automatic negative thoughts, the I can'ts, the I'm not good enoughs, that tend to creep in. Once you're aware of them, you can start to challenge them.
It's like bringing those hidden beliefs that are holding us back to the surface.
Exactly. We can actively choose a different narrative, and affirmations can be a powerful tool for that.
Affirmations like those I am strong, I am capable kind of statements.
Precisely. It might feel a bit awkward at first, but the more we repeat those positive messages, the more likely they are to sink into our subconscious, like planting seeds of self-belief.
I've been trying affirmations lately, and I'm surprised at how much of a difference it makes.